So a bit of a breaking news update, and one that unfortunately isn't very good news if you're really a fan of Shreyas Iyer, the cricketer. But it is actually scary just how bad this situation was, and it's only now that a lot of details are coming to light about the injury that Iyer had suffered. You remember in the second ODI, he ended up taking that catch, and truth be told, or rather the third ODI, he suffered that. Injury during the third ODI. Took a catch. It was a very good catch, but then had to be taken off the field, and he was rushing, or rather, being taken away from the field very gingerly. At that point, most people thought it was a rib cage injury, which is anyway problematic. But now we're getting to hear from credible sources are telling us at Sports Day that the injury was so severe that Shreyas Iyer has been admitted to a hospital in Sydney and is currently in the intensive care unit or the ICU due to the injury suffered. In fact, the injury was so bad that he suffered internal bleeding due to the injury, which was to his rib cage. You remember he was walking off, and it looked like he had landed very awkwardly at that point in time. But what makes this worse is that when he was in the dressing room, he actually, his vitals ended up dropping very low, and that is why he was eventually rushed to the hospital by the medical team because his vital signs were not very good at that point in time. It was, in fact, a something that could have been a life-threatening injury if not treated. So here's the thing: what sources have also said, according to other media reports, is that he's been in the ICU for the past couple of days. After the reports came in, internal bleeding was detected, and he had to be admitted immediately. So he's going to remain under observation for anywhere between 2 to 7 days, depending on recovery, as one needs to stop spreading of the infection due to the bleeding. So this is the real worrisome part: is that. There was a lot of internal bleeding that was detected, and that is why the team physio and the doctors didn't take any chances with him, and rushed him to the hospital pretty immediately because his vital readings when they first came in were not good at all. So we're also getting to hear that things are stable now for him, but it could have been fatal if not treated poorly, but if not treated promptly, and that is really the scary part about this. And it just goes to show you, really, we talk about injuries in the world of elite sport. Yes, they do happen, but you need to be treating every injury with absolute care, because what looked like it could have been a routine, let's say, rib injury or at first cracked rib, is something that actually almost ended up turning out fatal for the man who is India's vice captain in ODI cricket. So, and what this also does, of course, it's good news in itself that he's actually ended up all right, and that there's no serious threat to his life anymore. But what it does mean is that he could potentially be on the shelf for a little bit. There was internal bleeding, and he'll need way more time to recover at this point, and there is really no timeline on his return to competitive cricket, which is a huge blow when you consider just how in good form he's been really through 2025. It was an excellent form for Punjab Kings, his new franchise. Thereafter, many felt he was unlucky to miss out on the India team for the Asia Cup. But of course, there's reasons for that as well. It would have been tough to fit him in. That being said, most people expected him to be playing a regular part in ODI cricket, and he had even been named the vice captain. And of course, there's plenty of ODI cricket coming up after the Australia series. You've got a home ODI series against South Africa. Thereafter, you've got a home ODI series against New Zealand. And after that, there would have been, of course, the World Cup, T20 World Cup, and then IPL. There's no guarantees if Shreyas would have been playing the T20 World Cup, but he definitely have been looking forward to the IPL. As of right now, though, no confirmation as to when it is you can, expect to see him return to cricket. In fact, right now, he's not even close to being discharged. It is expected that Shreyas will remain in the Sydney hospital for at least a week before he's declared fit to travel back to India. That is itself how bad things are. He's right now not even been declared fit to travel. He needs to be under constant observation for at least a week as things stand. Could be more assuming, or if it turns out that it needs a little bit more treatment. But it's a bad stroke of luck. The good news, of course, is that Iyer is okay. So that is the good part, in the sense that this was a very, very bad injury that we're getting to could have been fatal. But that's just how fickle it can be. Something which seemed like a minor injury or something that could have kept him on the shelf for maybe 3 to 4 weeks has now reached a point where you don't even know when it is he's coming back to competitive cricket, because as things stand, he's still in the hospital. So that is the.
Effectively misses the
Yeah, he mentioned that as Harshad is telling me off camera that he's essentially missing now the South Africa series, which is a given really, considering 4 to 6 weeks would have been anyway placing him touch to go. Right now, though, no timeline for his return. So that's the breaking news update. A lot of you are joining us, so I'll just quickly recap again. Shreyas Iyer has been admitted to the Sydney hospital, and in fact, wait, Harshad is joining me for some updates as well. Harshad, you were on TV as well breaking this. Just give our family
Yeah,
members some more
pretty much
updates.
the same information that we've gathered at the moment. Shin, you rightly said that briefly it was deemed that things could have been fatal, and he had to be taken to the hospital. In fact, he's been in the ICU not today for the last couple of days.
Yeah.
That's the kind of treatment that's been given to Shreyas Iyer, and the BCCI didn't want to take any chance. Listen, they've got all the facilities, even in the back room, as far as backroom facilities are concerned. They've got all the technology, they've got all the science to take care of minor stuff. But this clearly they realize that BCCI, with state of the art facilities that they have, even in the back room, that we cannot be taking a chance. You've got top of the line physios, you've got top of the line medical experts as well, but they didn't want to take a chance with Shreyas Iyer. Also remember, this is the Indian vice captain we're talking about, and Shreyas is very vital to India's plans building up to the 2027 World Cup. He was very crucial to your success, I would say, in the 2023 World Cup. Was again very crucial to your success in the Champions Trophy, and clearly he's a mainstay as far as this Indian batting order is concerned. So no chance had to be taken. That is immediately that call was taken because his vitals had started to drop, and immediately then he was rushed to the Sydney hospital, which is where he is right now as well. And as Shane was pointing out, for the next 1 week, that's exactly where he will be closely being monitored by the BCCI medical facility. And then of course that rehab, which one thought would be anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks, but this is the knowledge we had until yesterday. Now though, I'm afraid that goes way beyond the 3 week mark, and that essentially means that Shreyas Iyer, as far as ODI cricket for the next few weeks is concerned, and that means in fact this whole year we may not see Shreyas Iyer
Exactly,
now.
could be out for at least a couple of months.
Exactly, because you're not playing any more ODI cricket after that ODI series against South Africa at home for this year. Yes, there is some ODI cricket in 2026, and that's what we can hope for to see Shreyas Iyer. Nothing beyond, nothing before that for sure.
Absolutely not, and it's a very bad timing. We always say with Shreyas, injuries tend to do him in at absolutely the worst times, and this one is a very freak one. You looked at it and you said, okay, a bad landing, sure, but you thought maybe it's a bruised rib, a cracked rib at most, internal bleeding, scary. And the good news is that he's actually okay, because it was
And
scary
look at
reading
this.
some of those things.
This is a player who's not been the luckiest,
No,
truth be told.
not at all.
Let's go back a couple of weeks when he shot off that letter to the BCCI. He wrote that letter and said that he needs time to manage himself, he needs time to work on his fitness, and the longest format of the game is something he cannot look at the moment. We know he's been in and out of the test side, but he's shown every reason to be there as purely as a batter in that Indian test side as well. However, now Shreyas Iyer told the BCCI a couple of weeks back that listen, I need to work on my fitness and I need 6 months off. Just look at what happens a couple of weeks after that. First comes that South Africa A squad announcement. Shreyas Iyer, now that was acknowledged, the BCCI acknowledged his request, and he wasn't subsequently included. But now he's been forced to stay off the field. So the timing of it, back spasms we know have troubled him for a while, and that has been an impediment in his career. And this, though, another crucial year now for India, for him as well. 2026, so much is going to be watched very closely, and I'm afraid for the first couple of months we may not see him. I hope that the recovery is faster, but this very development that we're giving to you at the moment says anything but that. Earlier, until yesterday, whatever limited information that we had, we thought that yes, 3 weeks, and now whatever first series that you'll be playing in 2026, Shreyas Iyer will be there. However, this just completely just changes things. Due process will be followed. We know once he's back home, which will also be in about 7 days
Yeah,
from
so
now.
week is what they're saying, that he would be at least in the hospital.
And then he goes to the COE in Bengaluru. We'll obviously be keeping very close tabs on this story. It's developing as you would have realized by now. But 1 week, that's when Shreyas Iyer in 1 week's time he's expected to be coming back. Let's try and answer some questions as well.
Yeah, let's see what it is that we have from fans. So you've got Vikas Jaiswal saying that bad news and I hope he recovers soon. Satvik saying the same thing, that hope he's recovering in time for the New Zealand series in India. I think that's the, actual proper timeline, you can say, because that's starting in the beginning of next year. At least 2 months out is a bare minimum. But of course, this is a story that you would have to see is consistently evolving. We don't know. This is a very weird situation in terms of it's a freak incident. It's a freak accident. You wouldn't have expected it to happen. But now I think the BCCI will treat him with utmost care because they have to. This is a very bad situation, and he's lucky actually that things have stabilized now. That's what we're getting to hear, is that his condition has stabilized. So that's good. But they're going to treat him with kid gloves as they should.
Yeah. Couple of us, the two of us being wished a happy Chhat Puja as well.
Yes,
That is
happy Chhat
Anshu
Puja
Mishra.
to you
Happy Chhat to everyone watching us right now. Rookie Techie says, anyway, he's playing only in ODIs and there aren't any events. There aren't any events, Rookie Techie, for the next couple of weeks for sure. But yeah, starting of next year, I think you do have a couple of series.
You have one series against New Zealand. After that is T20 World Cup, but then IPL also. So he would have been expecting to play IPL at the very least, if not, the T20 World Cup, which seemed unlikely. But then there'd be IPL. After that, you have a lot of ODIs, by the way. You've got the England series. You'll also have potentially an Asia Cup. Well, of course, Asia Cup is 2027, so that's probably still a ways off. But there's a lot of ODI cricket you'll be playing after the World Cup because you would have to be building up to the 2027 ODI World Cup.
Yeah. Komal Singh is asking why is Jaiswal not in T20 squad?
Beats
Unfortunate.
me. Beats me.
Unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Ishmeet Singh says, hope he's fine. He's our Sarpanch, our warrior Sarpanch. Yeah, he's good. Thankfully, that's the news we're getting to hear. But yeah, it was scary for a while. That's also what we can know. Anyhow, I think that is pretty much. Anshu Mishra asking the important questions. Government holidays don't apply to journalists, my friend. They do not. They absolutely do not. Anyway, we'll take your leave now because, truth be told, let's see. Well, there's a lot of questions still coming in. We'll not take those. It's a big update, but we'll keep tracking this story because, as Harshit rightly pointed out, is developing right now. It is something that we'll keep getting updates on because there's far more now that we could potentially be anticipating. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for joining us on this video. As always, leave a like, subscribe,
Tap the bell. So many of you joining us right now haven't subscribed, and that's what the analytics tell us. So please go ahead, tap that bell. We will now be going off camera to try and get those pictures out for you. Let's see what is it that we can dig in this developing story. So do tap that bell, subscribe, and see you in the evening on the Sports Today Dugout. Bye-bye.